although this is an annual meeting, let me give you some background first, which brings together finance ministers and senior government officials from 124 countries, and then there are also leaders of major financial organizations like the Asian Development Bank, like the Islamic Bank, several others like several other international institutions and banks that deal with international finances, donor nations, commercial organizations that loan money to other countries and other corporations. So it is probably the largest gathering of financial leaders in the world. It happens every year in Washington, D.C. And this year for Pakistan, as you can imagine, the focus is how to deal with the devastations caused by the floods. Ishaq Dar has already met a number of people. I mean, he has met US officials, he has met World Bank leaders, he has met IMF officials. So he'll be meeting finance ministers of friendly countries. He met the president of the Islamic Bank. He will also meet, I think, some prominent US lawmakers. And the idea behind all these meetings and all these efforts is to number one, focus on the devastations caused by the floods, and also to sort of appraise these leaders of Pakistan's financial difficulties, particularly the difficulties caused by the huge debt that it owes to the lenders. And Pakistan is hoping some sort of arrangement that could lessen this burden. And the floods, as you can imagine, have generated a lot of sympathy for Pakistan in Washington too. It was a big news on the US media. People watched videos on the social media as well as the main media, and therefore even before the finance minister arrived, there was already a lot of sympathy for Pakistan. And as expected, the finance minister discussed this issue, discussed the efforts Pakistan is making to deal with the consequences of the floods, and also what Pakistan expects the international community to do for it in this situation. And while the finance minister was discussing these issues with the IMF and World Bank officials and other financial leaders inside the World Bank headquarters in Washington, there were hundreds of people outside the main building protesting in favor of countries like Pakistan. They were mainly demanding that rich nations should restructure, or if possible even write off the loans they have given to countries like Pakistan, because because those countries are the victims of climate-induced disasters, and the protesters also point in their speeches and in pamphlets distributed. The World Bank headquarters are close to the White House, so all the streets around the World Bank and the White House have been blocked, and there are protesters everywhere. Yesterday they did a sort of a bicycle march, and today they are just standing in small groups, chanting slogans and distributing pamphlets. And in this, the people, the protesters and their leaders, they pointed out in their speeches that countries like Pakistan are victim of a disaster that has been caused by others. I was listening to one of the speeches, where the speaker pointed out that Pakistan only contributes to what 0.8% to the global warming, but its share in the consequences, in the devastations caused by this global warming is 24%. So it is much larger than what its contribution to causing this problem. And therefore they said that countries like Pakistan should not only be helped in dealing with the climate-induced disasters, but rich countries who have lent money to Pakistan and other similar countries, they should consider writing off their debt so that they can focus on dealing with this issue, the climate-induced disasters, because they said that these things will keep happening, and there will be more floods and more storms and more heat waves. So I think this is a good opportunity for Pakistan to take advantage of the sympathy created by the floods and to interact with world leaders and make them understand Pakistan's point of view. There's another thing that I would like to mention while talking about the finance minister visit. That is an unfortunate incident that happened at the Dulles airport in Washington. That is when he landed and it was coming out of the passengers' lounge. There is just, unlike in Pakistan where you have a VIP lounge and you have non-VIP lounges, but in Washington there is only one exit that is used by all passengers. So you have to walk out and then you can go to different different areas. So while he was coming out, there were some passengers who were supporters of PTI, and they started heckling him. They started shouting, I would say, some unsavory words and phrases, which annoyed Mr. Dar too, and he responded. But more than that, there's a local PMLN person, Mani, but he got very upset and he started shouting insults at PTI people. It all got very nasty. And I would I don't know, I represent a tiny minority, but I am among those who believe that on occasions like this, when a minister or a prime minister or a leader, even a position leader, comes to an important meeting like the UN General Assembly or to a World Bank group meeting, we should not do this. It makes the country look bad. He's here, no matter who had been in power in Islamabad. Islamabad was bound to participate in the World Bank meetings because we are one of the major borrowers. We have borrowed money from the IMF more than 20 times, almost 28 times, and we have a program with the IMF, and we depend heavily also on support from the World Bank and from other financial institutions that are attending this meeting. And so therefore I think on occasion like this, we should not mix domestic politics with our foreign policy or our engagement with international powers and international institutions. I think this is very unfortunate, and we should try to avoid doing so.